This is week 2 of Act 23. Welcome, welcome. So glad that you are all here and that we're all together today. In terms of announcements, the thing that I just want to let you know is that I'm pairing up mentors and mentees and finishing that up today. So by the end of today or maybe tomorrow morning, you should have your mentor assignment from your mentor if you are a new ACT, if you are an ACT trainee in this round. And those of you who are alumni audit, we're scheduled to have our kickoff video tonight. I'm going to see how this goes with my video, and we may need to push that forward, but we'll see. I'll be in touch about that after how this video goes today. All right, so I'm going to dive right into our topic, and hold on one second. Okay, so I'm going to go right into week 2. This is the first of 2 weeks that are all about the 9 ARTbundance principles, and those are different than the cornerstones. The cornerstones are the things we talked about last week, which are kind of like the core components of ARTbundance as a whole. And the principles are 9 building blocks that we use as blocks that are, or building blocks, components of self-awareness and transformation. So we use these in a lot of different ways in ARTbundance. But the first thing that we're going to do in these two weeks is to introduce you to having your own relationship with them. Before we talk about how the principles can be used to help other people, I want you to get to know them yourself. So the training in ARTbundance really mirrors the process. The process, as I've told you before, and I've shared this before, is we take a tools, not rules approach with our clients. And so our clients we're giving them a tool and they're really uncovering for themselves what it means rather than us giving advice or training to them. So that is, since that's the approach that we take with our clients and students, that's the approach that this training takes as well. Before I tell you anything about a particular technique or approach or concept, I want you to explore it for yourself first. So you can see, okay, what does this mean to me? And then I'll come in and add an overlay on top of that, that then you can kind of sandwich into your own experience and take whatever you'd like. So of course, to learn about and explore the ARTbundance principles, the first step is for you to explore what they mean to you. And then next way, I'll add another layer on top of that. So the ARTbundance principles, we're going to explore them, and since you're exploring them yourself, the way to do that is through art assignments. And so this also becomes a taste of art assignments. And this becomes kind of your first experience of using art assignments in action. We are going to go through 9 archaeology art assignments, and in a few weeks we'll get to the different kinds of art assignments and specifically how we use archaeology art assignments. For right now, rather than taking notes on the art assignments themselves, I just invite you to just be in the experience. Don't worry about taking notes of like, oh, here's an art assignment. We're going to get to all of that, and plus everything that we do is going to be in your guidebook anyway, so don't worry about taking notes. Just be in the process. That's the best thing that you can do for your own edification and for your experience right now. We're going to go through 9 art assignments, 1 for each of the principles. And I'll just say this just before we begin. I've picked 9 art assignments and I've matched them with principles, but they could all be switched up. And if you were at one of the training samples, then you should also already be aware of the fact that with these archaeology art assignments, they work with any word, any topic. So I've just sort of randomly matched them, but there's no requirement for each one of the art assignments. There's not a method as to why I've picked that art assignment with a particular principal. So we're going to move through these pretty quickly, and some of you really may enjoy and feel very natural in the quick pace, and it's been my experience that for other people it feels really fast and it feels like, oh, we're moving so fast. That actually has a purpose because we're moving so quickly, it helps you kind of get out of overthinking or overanalyzing. So just go with it. If it feels like it's moving too fast, that's okay. That may be uncomfortable, but that's a good thing. So just allow that feeling to be acceptable and welcome. It's not a sign that you're too slow. It's a sign that you're moving at a rapidity and a rhythm that may be pushing you in a direction that's a little different for you, but it's not a bad thing. So to start, we're going to go with the first one, and I'm going to move through these with just going from one straight to another, and then we'll talk about them. Let me just check in and see if there are any questions or anything that anyone would like to ask or say before we dive in that would make you feel more comfortable. You can feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question, or you can type it in the chat. Because my video is so slow, I'm not sure if I will see you if you raise your hand, because you all are frozen.
Hey, Marnie, it's
Hey, Terry.
Terry.
Yeah.
Hi. So for these quick art assignments to go through the principles, do we have to, or do you suggest we have certain materials with us? Paper and pen is enough? Or?
Yeah, paper, markers, pencils, whatever you have is great. Perfect. If you've got some colors to play with, that makes it more fun, but not required.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, great. I'm so glad to know that I'm coming through okay. So that's really, really good feedback. I appreciate it, because everybody else is like completely frozen. So that's good. That's good. You guys are just frozen. But you're all beautiful. So that's awesome. Okay, so we are going to start with the very first one. So I'm going to invite you to open up to a new page, and again, we're going to do 9 of these. You can decide if you just want to do one right after the other, or if you want to just put them all on one page, or if you want to put each one on a separate page. Totally up to you. The first art assignment is called a word collage. And I invite you, first of all, to just write the word gratitude in the center of your page. After writing gratitude in the center of your page, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to create a word collage. A word collage is, as you might imagine, a collage that fills a page, but it fills it with words or phrases that come to mind when you think about gratitude. These could be single words or phrases or memories. Fill the page like you're making a collage with these words. You can write large, you can write small, switch up your colors, switch up your fonts. You can't do this wrong. Aim for filling up the white space. And I'll give you 2 minutes to begin. Play with this, and I'll tell you when we just have a few seconds left. And wrap that up in about 7 seconds. Just bring it to a close. And after each one of these, I'm just going to give you a single reflection prompt that you can capture. You can capture it in writing or even just in your mind. A prompt you could use is something like, I am aware of, or it's interesting to me that. Something like that. So just look at what you just did, look at your work, your word collage, and then complete the prompt either mentally or write it down. I am aware of, or it's interesting to me that, or perhaps I'm curious about. Just capture just an initial something that's capturing your attention about the art assignment you just did. Just about 30 seconds for that, and we'll go on to the next one. All right, and bring that to a close. And I'm just going to be going on my timing because I'm not really able to see you guys when you look like you're wrapping up. So just know I'm going to stick to the timing today. So for the next one, I would invite you to write a story. And it's a story that I'm going to offer prompts that I'll invite you to write down what I say and then complete the prompt, complete the statement or the sentence, and then we'll get another line to the story and we'll put together a short story. So here's the first line of the story. It goes like this. I looked out my window and saw intuition. It was, and so I'd like you to write down what I just said and then complete that phrase and wait for the next prompt. I'll say it again. I looked out my window and saw intuition. It was, the next prompt is, I immediately noticed, I immediately noticed, the next line of the story is, intuition, then, intuition, then, the next prompt, there are two more. I finally realized that intuition, whatever comes out. I finally realized that intuition and this is the last line of the story. And in that moment, I knew, and in that moment, I knew bring your wonderful story to a close. And again, about 30 seconds to just offer a quick reflection. I am aware of, it's interesting that I notice, I'm curious about, something like that. Just something that is capturing your attention from your story. And bring that reflection to a close. If you find yourself wanting to use some different colors, feel free to. You might find that different principles kind of make you reach for different colors. We're going to go to our third one. To begin the third one, it's called a sketch series. By the way, that second one was called a story completion. You don't need to write that down, but just FYI. This is a sketch series. I invite you to draw a quick 30-second sketch of balance in your past. Something that represents balance in your past. It can be a vision that you see and then you draw it, or you can just move your pen and have no idea what you're creating. Balance in your past. About 15 more seconds. And next, a quick 30-second sketch that somehow represents balance in your present. Balance in your present. And finally, a third sketch that somehow represents balance in your future. Balance in your future. And bring that to a close. And once again, capture a reflection in this moment. What are you aware of? What's interesting? What stands out when you look at your sketch series of balance? All right, we are going to our next one now. This one is a poem, and it's a poem that takes a certain form. I'll tell you the form first. Before I do, would somebody be willing to just type in the chat and just confirm that you can hear me okay? Just want to make sure. Okay, great. Thanks, Sally. The chat I can get. All right. You know, this is probably like there's probably somewhere like a speaker's nightmare or something, that you're just speaking to a bunch of stone people. That's probably like a, you know, an archetypal, like, you know, being naked on stage or something, sort of interesting. Okay, so for our next one, we're going to write a poem. And here's the format. It goes like this. Vision is blank. Vision is blank. Vision is blank, blank, and blank. I'll put that in the chat as well, but I'll just say it one more time. Vision is blank, vision is blank, vision is blank, blank, and blank. Your invitation is to fill in the blanks of this poem. The key to the fill in the blank poem art assignment is writing very quickly. Don't stop to think, what is vision like? Think of this more like free writing in a poetic structure. Vision is blank, vision is blank, vision is blank, blank, and blank, and then again. I'll give you 2 minutes to play with this structure. Just repeat as many stanzas as you can in that time. It's totally fine to repeat yourself. In fact, sometimes that really helps with building momentum. Go ahead and begin. All right, and bring that poem to a close wherever you are in it. And again, allow yourself to capture a reflection. What stands out? What's interesting? What grabs your attention about what you just created? All right, bring that reflection to a close. And now for our next one, we're going to do one called the persona play. Your art assignment here is to create a persona for attraction. If attraction was a person, a character, a figure, what would he or she look like? Grab a pen or maybe a different color and draw the figure of what this character or persona of attraction, what might he or she look like? Draw a quick little sketch. And think about some of the physical details. What's the body shape like? What kind of hair does he or she have? What about facial features or clothing or accessories? So you have 2 minutes now to play with coming up with attraction as a persona, as a figure. If you want, you can put attraction in an environment, in a place or space. You don't have to. And bring that sketch to a close. And capture anything that you find interesting or curious or that you notice. All right, bring that to a close. For this next art assignment, I invite you to tap into the wisdom of your muse. Now, your muse was your week 1 art assignment from last week, and I've already gotten a couple of them submitted, and I also want to thank Zara for starting a thread on the forum to share your muses. Definitely do that, because the muses, they kind of join our little tribe here. They're part of us. If you don't yet have your muse, if you haven't done your week 1 art assignment yet, don't worry. You can think about imagining a wise, benevolent, supportive presence or voice. You can just imagine that coming through. If you're an alumnus and you're doing the audit and you're here, you can either think about the muse that you created back in ACT, or if you feel like kind of bringing forward another muse, that's also fine. Your muse is going to write this next one, not you. It begins, I believe choice is. I believe choice is. And this is from your muse's point of view, not yours. This is free writing, and I'm going to give you 3 different prompts and give you about 30 seconds for each of them. So I'll give your next one in about 30 seconds. I believe choice is. The next prompt, and remember, this is your muse talking. The next prompt is, what I really want, and then put your name. What I really want Marnie to know about choice is, and this is your wise, encouraging muse's voice. Put your own name instead of Marnie, unless your muses all have really important messages for me. I really want Marnie, your name. What I really want Marnie to know about choice is. The last prompt from your muse is, the magic of choice is, and just let your muse answer that. The last prompt to repeat was, the magic of choice is. The magic of choice is. And bring that to a close. and reflect. I think it's interesting. I notice. I'm taken by. Just to reflect on something that you noticed from that short writing from your muse. All right. We are moving on to action. You guys are doing great. You're doing great. For action, we're going to do another persona play, but this one is a little different. Whereas the previous persona play that was about attraction, this one is going to be going beyond physical characteristics. Action is a persona, a character. Somebody, suddenly action is come to life and is personified. Where does action live? That's your first prompt. Action lives, and then complete that prompt with whatever comes to mind when you think of action becoming personified. And then I'll give you another series of prompts to help you fill out who action is. Where does action live? Action lives in what is action's hobby or favorite pastime? You can write these in sentence format. They can also just be a list. What is action's favorite pastime or hobby? Action has studied something voraciously. What has action studied? As a child, action was always particularly good at something and particularly not good at something else. What are those two things? This is in action's childhood. Action has a dream to go on a very specific vacation or trip or holiday. What's action's dream? What's the dream vacation for this character? Action has a secret that he or she's never told anybody. What is that secret? And the last one is, if action had to leave the house instantly in the case of emergency and could only bring 3 things with her or him or it or them, what would action bring with them? Only 3 things. And once again, take about 30 seconds to reflect on anything that is interesting or that captures your attention about this persona play for action. All right, we have 2 more. So the next art assignment is called a metaphor machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to create metaphors and analogies that are based on different prompts. And our principle is connection. So I'll give you a couple of examples just so you have them. If I said connection, make it high tech, you might think of an internet connection. If I said make connection funny, you might think of Lucy and Ethel on I Love Lucy, because they work together to make things funny. If I say make connection spiritual, you might think of people holding hands while praying. So I'm going to give you several prompts for connection. The first one is make it colorful. What comes to mind? Connection. And you can either make quick drawings or just write these down. We're going to do these pretty quickly. Make it colorful. Connection. Make it larger than life. What comes to mind? And if it doesn't make any sense, it doesn't matter. Just go with it. Make connection larger than life. Make connection very, very small, very small. Make connection old-fashioned. Make connection artistic. Make connection you. When you think of connection being very you, what does that bring forward? And now take a moment to reflect, grab something that catches your attention for one reason or another, something you notice here or find interesting. All right, and now it's the last one. The last one. This one is called a sense lens, and we're going to look at service through each of the senses. What does service look like? So the first one, you can actually either respond to this either in drawing quick sketches or writing prompts, either one. Service looks like, and then the image that comes through. Service looks like, this can be very literal, it can be completely symbolic, it can be just the word that pops into your mind and you don't have a clue why. What does service smell like? Service smells like. What does service taste like? Service tastes like. What does service sound like? Service sounds like. And what does it feel like to the touch? Service feels like. And now just capture a reflection on the senses. I think I got them all. Anything that stands out. All right, to bring that to a close, you have just done your first art assignments. And of course, we're going to circle back to those. And you've already begun your own exploration about what these 9 principles, what they mean to you, which is always going to be more important than what anything I can tell you about them. The principles are gratitude, balance, intuition, choice, action, attraction, connection, vision, service. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put you into breakout groups, and so that you can have just a free form discussion. I would invite you to select one of these art assignments to share. It could be one that is particularly interesting or particularly unusual, or you really could just close your eyes and pick one or randomly pick a number between 1 and 9. So in your small group, I'll just invite you to take turns, share your art assignment, and then you have a choice. You have a choice if you want to share something that came to mind for you, or if you want to ask the other people in your group for their input about it, what they notice. Either way, this is just an opportunity for each of you to, to just explore, what came up, what's here, what was this experience like, and in general, and then also share one art assignment and something that you got from it. You're going to be in groups of 3, which will allow each of you to have at least, you're going to have 20 minutes. And so that'll allow each of you to have 5 minutes to share, plus some general sharing time as well. So somebody just needs to kind of agree to keep an eye on the clock so that we're going to be coming back together in 20 minutes. So in just a moment, you will have a command on your screen that says join my group, and that will take you to your group. And I'm not sure if my connection will allow me to move around. I will try. I got a request to repeat what to talk about. So once you're in your group, you can say hello, and then each person has 5 minutes to pick one of your art assignments, one of the things that you did here, share it. You could say, here's my sketch series for balance, and show it. Here's my story about intuition, and then discuss it. You can share what it means to you. You can ask others what they noticed, either way. So each of you will have 5 minutes and then you'll also have like an extra 5 minutes to just talk about, the process. Oh, it looks like looks like our number changed a little bit. Hold on. I think we'll be okay. All right, give me just a second. All right, it looks like you're going to either have 3 or 2. So if you have 2, then you'll just have some extra time. Or I could move you into 4. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll move you because it's I think better to have. All right, so you'll either have 3 or 4. Adjust your time accordingly. Let's say this, we'll come back together at 20 after the hour. So that gives you a little more than 20 minutes. So you should have an invitation now. There you go. And Diana, you should have on your screen an invitation. There we go, everybody's there. So if you're watching the recording right now, everybody's in their breakout groups, and in a minute I'll start the recording when everybody comes back. We'll just allow a moment to get everyone else back here. Welcome back, all. Welcome. So, how was that? Who would like to share with the group anything about your experience, what it was like to share with your small group, or anything about this day, this class that you'd like to share? I would suggest, I was saying raise your hand, but I'm not going to be able to see that. So if there's something you'd like to share, just feel free to unmute yourself and go for it.
Hi, it's Zara. I guess what really got me was that, you know, these principles are meaningful and powerful for every single person. That there's commonality with all of us around all the words, but they also hit really deeply on many different levels, that and sharing them, it's like looking at those people's faces and sharing them. There's like a, for me, like an instant connection of like, there's somebody else, you know. It is, it's the connection through these principles, and how they all dance around and together and support each other. Yeah, it's really cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. What a great thing to share. Anybody else want to unmute yourself and share?
This is Roscoe. A lot of my answers had to do with fear, and it kind of disturbs me. And I know that it's there. I mean, this is all going to take way more trust and way more faith than I've ever been able to muster up in the past. And so there's just a lot of fear. It's scary and unknown, and it's like it's like the castle thing, you know, the door is open and it's open up to the sky, and you step out of the door and there's like nothing under your feet, and it's like, you have to trust that it'll come up to meet you. And I'm just like, I don't know, maybe that's what they say anyway.
That's awesome to share. And yeah, you know, it's interesting. I mean, one thing I love about art assignments, and we'll talk more about this, but I love that these exercises can be used to explore, you know, where you are, right? They can be used to explore the fear and the ick and the gook, as well as where you're going. And sometimes it's really helpful, it's sort of to just go into, you know, the fear or whatever's going on right now. It's sort of it's a good neutralizer. You know, sometimes I notice, like, we have to make the scary persona before we make the persona that we're, you know, maybe going toward. So it's just, that's I think an interesting part of this whole process. So I share that in case that's helpful to know that, you know, kind of negatively charged things showing up is not only normal, but it actually is really good, because it's a way to kind of, you know, get out where you are. And I don't know if that helps, but it's just something that I think is very a very a standard and also very welcome part of this process, if that helps to maybe not feel so much of a charge, you know, from, oh my gosh, all of this all this stuff is, you know, comes up. And you know, even as I was doing them, I was noticing, and I'm certain it's related to just the times that we're in right now, you know, that there was a sort of a flavor that felt a little different. So, you know, we do these things any given moment, you know, they're going to show up in different ways. So thank you for sharing.
I think one of the things that I noticed the most was how I felt about choice, even more when my muse was talking to me, that there are choices out there. There's abundant choices. They just might not be the choices that we want. So, you know, being very cognizant of that there are choices out there, that you're not without choice. And I think that's really an important thing, because the magic of choice is movement, and movement out of ruts and stuckness. So I think just looking at what's out there, yeah, I can't do this, but I can do that. And I think that people feel really stuck because they can't do what they used to do. But you kind of can do what you used to do, you just can't do it outside.
Right. Right.
You can have your
Right.
art supplies delivered, you know.
Yes. I love the magic of choices movement. That's awesome, Karen. That's fantastic. Love it. Anyone else like to share?
I want to thank my roommates. It was a very good discussion, and it's really interesting how, you know, we realize things have changed, and how you wonder if the world is ever going to be the same again, knowing that it probably won't be, and wondering what it's all going to come out to be. I think it's a very interesting thing. I don't think it's a negative necessarily, but you know, we're going to get real used to change. Yep.
I love that they're roommates. That's so, there's something about that that's delightful and cozy when you go off with your group. They're your roommates. I love that. Thank you, Karen. I'm assuming that's Karen. I can't see her, but I know your voice. So if for some reason somebody
It was
else
me.
is, okay, I was
me.
assuming
Yep.
so.
Yep.
I know your voice well. So but then it suddenly occurred to me, what if I'm wrong? Who else would like to share? Anyone else?
Arlene, you're muted. It looks like you're talking, but you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just want to thank Marnie, because I'm very sheltered in place, and to think that my choice was to audit again, and how grateful I am, because that many years ago, well, I still don't understand tech very well, but to think that we have this choice today, that we have this choice to meet new people and connect and do this rather than sit and watch some of the news, which can be scary. So no wonder there's some fear, but I feel great hope in this. And I want to thank Eileen, who's also doing this. I don't know whether you're actually taking the whole act, Eileen. I'm in an audit, but she said something, and I'm just going to think about it all day, that I'm not the same person I was, nor do I look at the principles exactly the same as when I did act. And what is your anniversary, Marnie, this year? I think I was in Act 3 or something like that.
This is the 23rd. So this is the 12th year of ACT, the 20th year of Artella. But yeah, the 12th year of ACT.
I can't remember what year it was. I have to go look up in my binder. But I just am very impressed and grateful that I get to do this again and walk through this. The one thing I did notice is that I might have been like Karen in more fear and remembering the past influences on my life the first time. This time I'm seeing probably more positive things that have happened. It was just, I'm really grateful I got to share and I get to be here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thanks to you all for being here. Let me tell you what's going to happen next. So right after this call, right after we leave, I'm going to go ahead and send your week 2 book so that you have it. So if you want to dive in, you can. And then and I'll also post this week's video, the training video on the forum. As soon as I can access the recording and get it to you, I will send an email with the complete links, just like last week. So right after class, I send you the guidebook, I post the video, I post a discussion, and then I'll email you as soon as I have the connections, the complete links. And I also, as I said, by the end of today, hope to or plan to send mentor and mentee. I'll send you both an email to introduce each other. So let me know if by tomorrow late morning you haven't gotten that email, just kind of nudge and make sure, because email's being really weird right now as well. So that's what happens next. All right. Thank you all. I appreciate you all. I'm grateful for you. And And I'm really looking forward to what comes from your week 1 art assignments. And this week is the Peace Project, which I think you'll really enjoy. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Lovely playing with you.
Yes.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Have a great
Bye.
week. See you
Bye.
next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.